Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to make this reverse 3D scan. We make something virtually to be, it looks like from the 3D scan, so it looks like it from the real world. Got this idea mostly coming from Miquela's Instagram. Miquela is a virtual influencer, so he's not a real human being, but he make this kind of like a 3D scan of herself. When I saw this post, I just feel it's super meta and super interesting concept. So I wish to make a system that is easy to build virtual things to be a 3D scan. Let's see what's the main idea that we're going to do this. It originally looks like this, so it's a very normal 3D human. So we make it to be like this. It looks like a 3D scan. So the most important idea to be able to do this is we have used geometry node to override the weight pen. So that's the weight pen that is driven from the geometry node. It's not like I draw it from my hand. So it's a very powerful function that you can do with geometry node. And I learned this idea from watching this YouTube channel, 露伴知了. His channel, he got a lot of nice geometry node example, and he also got a Bilibili channel. I highly recommend his video. Also using this concept, you can make something like Daniel Arshan's work. You can get some imperfection from the body, like all these holes, something that is coming from the mold. This video will be two parts. The first video will be making this basic reverse 3D scan, and next video we will discuss how to make it to be an animation, and we will discuss how to turn this to be like a hologram from the sci-fi movie. And in the next video we will also discuss how to easily transfer this setup to any object, so you don't have to rebuild this every time. And the simple form of this file will be posted on my Gumroad. More complete animation form will be posted on my Patreon. So without further ado, let's jump in to make this reverse 3D scan. So the most important thing that you take away from this tutorial is about using the geometry node to override the vertex weight. So first we want to make a vertex group for this model. And now I'm using a human, but you don't have to be a human. It can be any geometry that you put in, or you create like a Suzanne or something you create in the Blender. So first go to the animal, and then we create a vertex group. So this is the vertex group come with this human. I'm using human generator, this add-on. Pretty nice. I kind of recommend using it. So anyway, just create a vertex group, and we can code it to be side, because I want to find the vertex that is on the side of this model. So I call this side. It's kind of like an empty container. You don't have to assign anything. First we give it a test. Create a geometry node. Give a test. We use a noise texture and set it to be 4D. And we just plug this effect out and use a color ramp. Now we go to this geometry node modifier, this effect, and we want to select the one that we just create. And there is a side, so let's use that. And now we go to this weight pen mode. Make sure you have select this side vertex group that we just create. And so now we can drag this, give some compression for this weight. So now we have dynamic weight pen, so we can change that anytime. And this is very powerful because now we can use this weight pen for any modifier, not just using geometry node. For example, I'm using this place. So before I have to use some vertex that I paint for the weight pen, but now I'm using this weight pen that is driven by geometry node, so it can be changed anytime. And I can use like a sim time to drive that. So I play. So now this is like moving. I can make it slower. So now I can drive the weight pen real time. So that's the quick showcase for what's most important that we are going to do this time. But of course, not just like that, we have to make something looks like 3D scan. So it's called the reverse 3D scan. So let's take all this out and delete this. So now we have this first geometry node that we are working on. I will call that weight 01 weight, and name this to be 01 weight as well, because we will need like 3. I also name this to be side, so the name is the same. Now we are going to make some vertex weight. What we want is choosing the side of this model. So be able to do that, we can use vertex math and set this to be dot product. You can just plug that in and take a normal and plug that to the first socket and try to drag this. So when we drag this, we can see there's some weight. So if we take a look at this model, if we want to choose for the side of this model, it got something to do with this y-axis. So let's try to drag the xy, so the second one. So when we drag that, you can see there's some weight. So that's what the dot product do. The dot product will calculate 1 point is in which direction of the normal. So that's very useful. So now, for example, if I drag it like this, we got this side, but also including the back. So what we can do is using vector math and set it to be multiply, and plug this value from the dot product to the multiply, both of the socket. So we can get something like this, and we want to invert that. So we take another vector math and set it to be multiply and add, and put it here and set this to be -1 and add to be 1. So this means the invert. So now we got this invert from the side. So now we got this weight from the side. And let's drag that a little bit to get a more narrow result. And we can take another math and set it to be scale and plug that to be in between here, and another one to all the way back. So now we can have this control for this like wider, or for this like a more stronger compress. So that's what we got for the side. Now we want to make one more for the back, for this all the way to the back. So that's quite easy, but we have to make one more vertex group. So let's go back to the edit mode and make one more vertex group. And come back to the geometry node and make sure you have clicked on the back vertex group, and make one more output, name that to be back, and select this to be back, and copy this dot product and the normal, and then just drag that to the back. So now we got this back. So now we got these two vertex group. One is for the side, one is for the back. Rearrange that a little bit. Make a frame. Name that to be side. And the back. But now I want to use an object to drive this second value of this dot product. So we can drag the object and we will get the direction of the weight pen that we want. You don't have to be always at front. So let's create a echo sphere for that. let's put it somewhere around here. And personally, I would love the z-axis. We will not drag it up. You will see why later. So let's put it here. Okay, and let's go back to the geometry node. And we drag the ecosphere inside. And let's check the weight pen. And click this relative. And we plug this location to the second socket of the dot product. So now if we drag this ecosphere to be somewhere around like here, and now we go back to check, so we can get this different vertex group. And let's check the back if that is alright. Check the back. So the back should be invert. So let's take a vector math and set that to be multiplied and add. Set that to be -1 and 1, so that is the invert. So now we got something like this. So we got the side that is relative to this object, and also this back relative to this object. So whenever we drag this and we go back to check, it will be something like that. The reason I lock the Z is because I don't want it to be like somewhere higher or lower relative to this human's origin point, because if I drag up, the weight pen will be something, you know, from this angle. That's not what we want now, but you can do that if that is what you want. So it's up to you, and I would like to set it back to be 0 and lock that. So now we got that. I can put that back to be somewhere here. Okay, now we got this. So now we finished the first step for this effect. We have this first geometry node for this weight pen. And then we want to make another geometry node. We want to create another geometry node for offset. So make it 0, 2, and offset. And then this as well, that will be easier to see. So this second step is using to offset the vertex of this human body or any kind of object you have. So it will have like the pushback effect and some other distortion. So let's see how we do that. So now we don't need to be in the weight pen mode anymore. So let's go back. So first step for this second geometry node, we want to bring these two vertex group into here. So let's create two input, and then this to be side, and then the second one to be back. And click this cross sign and click this empty space and take the side and do the same thing here. Take the back. So now we'll bring them into it. So let's make some tests, see that it's working. Use a set position and use a noise texture. So if we drag the color to the offset, we get something like this. And do what we always do, use vector math to subtract 0.5. So now we got something like that, and now we use this side. So take another vector math and set it to be scale and drag this side. So when you drag in, you will see something like this, and that's because this side value is too big beyond 1. We don't want that, so we can use a color ramp to control that. If we plug the color ramp, and it will be constrained to be 0 to 1, and we will see something like that. And now it's the noise texture value is too big, so we can take a vector math and set that to be scale and put it here, make it lower. Now that's our side value. You can see it's only the side have some distortion. If we set this value to be lower, you can see it better. And now let's try the back. So now all the back is being distorted. So now we work with the side first. We want it only pushed back. So we only want to use this y-axis. So let's take this to be multiplied and only drag the y-axis. So now it's sort of working, but it's going like go to the front, go to the back, go to the front, go to the back. Because of this subtract, if we delete this subtract, it will go only one direction. And let's take it down a little, maybe 0.5, and take a color ramp. So we can give it some control. So now we sort of have what we want. And now it's just a matter of this noise texture looks. So you can take it to the 4D and make the scale like bigger and some like a detail of roughness, something like that. So now it seems like what we want. Now just like tweak a little bit for what you want. Okay, maybe if you like to be stronger. Now we have the basic look of this effect. Let's take a look at the modifier. Very important modifier that we are going to use is remesh. So let's take a remesh and just set it to be some value lower, even lower. Let's turn on the wireframe. Looks quite okay. You can be even smaller if that's what you want. Maybe 0.3, and this can be 0.5. Okay, I think the wireframe looks pretty decent. Basically, you got it. You got something that almost like the example. Now we can try to drag this sphere to see if there's any change. So if we go closer, you may get something weird. So just don't be too close. And now you still get something very weird. We definitely don't want this. It's very creepy. 密集恐惧症. Anyway, we can fix that. The reason for that is because we have not considered the ecosphere in this second geometry node. So let's drag that in and set this to be relative. And we use this location to this multiply second socket. So if we drag that in, this push effect will be through this ecosphere. So let's use vector math to scale that and set that to be -1. So in this case, you can see the push effect will be consider this ecosphere. However, it might be a little bit strong. We can use a scale through this end and maybe 0.5. Could be even weaker, 0.3. So let's drag this to see how it looks. So if you see something like this broken and something like this, in this case maybe your ecosphere is a little bit too far away. Just try to bring it back a little. That's because it's too strong. So if I bring it back a little, it looks a little bit better. However, you might see something like this place. The reason for all this is because of the weight pen that we just made earlier. It's too much right on the side. Let's go check. You can see the area of this side selection. It's really thick and it's really right on the side. Actually, what we want is make it a little bit through the back, not right on the side, back a little. It will only go from this very edge to the back, nothing from here. First, we might make it like a little bit thinner from using this scale. And also we will use add for this second socket like this. So you can see when we plug in, if we drag this, you can control it like a more toward the front or toward the back. What we want, it will be something like that. From the front, it will not have this red area. For more toward the back, it will have some red area. And we can make it a little bit just thing like this will be fine. So now let's take a look. It will be like that. We will no longer have this imperfection so strong. Might still have some little, but it doesn't matter. It might even looks more natural if you have some imperfection, so it's okay. Because the 3D scan is all about imperfection, just have to be the right imperfection. The direction of this sphere, what we want is not go too close like you see the back. That is not what we want. We don't want the back have this pointy stuff. So go back a little and not too much, because we don't want it to be too strong and break this area. So I think here is fine. Just the edge area have this push effect. So in this case, even we rotate the model, this push effect will be correct. Like this, looks kinda interesting. It's very beautiful. So basically we got what we want, but I think it's too strong and I would like to make it like smaller using this, and I can change this scale. So all this you can change. So you can change like it's dripping. I think you got the idea. So if you see your model have this kind of like a square wireframe, that's because your original model have not enough of face. So you can use a subdivision surface in the very beginning. In this case, you will fix that. That's before and after. You can turn it off when you edit it, and when you render you can turn it on. So now we have this first layer of imperfection for the side, and now we have to make imperfection for the back. So let's make another set position, and basically we can try to copy all this using this back and with this. So since we got like this, and let's see what we can do about it. For this we might want to make our subdivide a little bit higher, so we can have more detail to work on, and just use this scale to get some imperfection, color ramp to control that. At first, it might look something very weird. Over here is only about how you tweak this. It's kind of like a rock, just make some imperfection. If you want more detail, you can use 2 noise texture and use mix RGB and set this to be, I think darken will work. One of these is smaller, one of this is bigger. So you can have this like a roughness on top of each other. So it's like when you scan something, sometimes it just like fail to scan. But just make sure, just don't go too crazy about it. So anyway, just make some value change for some imperfection for the back. Either way, you can make it like a push in, or you can make it to be push out. Just some imperfection. I think you can make it a little bit better. And duplicate this. Duplicate this for one more time and make it for the front. So if you invert this back, it will be front. See? So just change some seed, okay, and also you can make it like a push in or push back by changing this scale. Can make it a little bit bigger, something like that. Let's frame them. Duplicate this and use this side. So now I have basically finished all my change for all this value. Okay, so now if I want to change some material for this, I might run into some problem, because so if I use set material, and I create a new material, for example, if I use blue and use this material, it will not apply because of this modifier, this remesh modifier. If I want to use geometry node to change the material, I have to use another geometry node and name this to be 03 set material. Okay, and I can use this to be set material, and from here I change this to be this material. It will work. And I can use a set smooth, so I can change this to be set smooth. I can plug this out, so I can change this outside. So if I change this to be 0, it will not be shade smooth. Change this to be 1, it will be shade smooth. And from here I can change different material. How about black, metallic? Yeah, so now it does looks like some kind of 3D scan or something from the mold. So that's what we got. In this video we got this reverse 3D scan. So it's not really actual 3D scan, but we make something virtually looks like it's coming from the 3D scan. So it's very meta, and I think that is very interesting concept. And then in the next video we will discuss how to make some animation for this, such as like this. We can cut it like that. So if I play this, and also we can make it even more like a from the mold. So it's not like a one solid object, it's empty inside. It's like a mold. So we can make it like this. And also we will discuss how to make it like a hologram from the sci-fi movie. So you got all these slides for the body. And also we will discuss how to apply all this setup for one click to the other object. So you don't have to redo that every time. Quickly we can make a Susan like from the 3D scan. Or we can make flower that we made before into this like 3D scan or something from the mold. And you don't even have to apply this to be a solid object. It can work with geometry no object. So you can get something like this. I think it looks kind of cool. Something this could be like ice, like the whole thing is built from the ice. So the next video is also very exciting, and I hope to see you there enjoying your reverse 3D scan. So see you in the next video. Bye bye.